beautiful people, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I am with my friend Mercy. It's actually Western Australian Day, so it's a public holiday. We're just chilling, sipping on some tea because it's very cold, and we're going to just be discussing about racism in Australia, as you can tell from the title of the video. But before we start, I'd like Mercy to introduce herself, say maybe one or two things about herself, and then we get started.
Hey there, lovely people. My name is Mercy, and I'm from Mercy MM channel. Please make sure you check my channel out, Mercy MM, and I do all sorts of video on that channel. I do vlogs. I do things to do with Australia, being an international student, being an immigrant, and today I'm very happy to be in Stella's channel discussing racism in Australia, something I have discussed on my channel, and she'll leave a link on the description box below about that video. And welcome to the channel.
Thank you. Excellent. So, Mercy, we're just gonna start straight on, and what I would like to know is that how has been your general experience in Australia? I know we're talking about racism today, but I'd like to know how has been your experience. Would you say it's been a good one or it's a bad one, or it's just always experiencing racism?
I'm gonna start by saying how long I have been in Australia. I have been here for the last 5 years. I'm almost 5 years. I'm gonna be 5 years in October, and I love being in Australia. I love being here. I actually don't regret migrating to Australia, and I've had so many challenges. It has been quite a journey, and of course there are so many advantages as well living here in Australia. And unfortunately today we're going to be talking about racism, which it's quite sad and it's a very sensitive topic, but that doesn't mean that we haven't had the good things about Australia. So it has been a good journey, let me just say that. Challenging, but a good journey, and I love being in Australia.
That's very good to hear. So it's always good to start with that, because I don't want you guys coming for us like, why don't you guys go back to where you came from? No, we do love this country. We love it dearly. Personally, I have been here for 6 years. I have experienced tremendous growth as a person, career-wise, and literally my life has taken a 180 being here in this country. So we love it. However, just like any other great place, there's some downfalls and there's some disadvantages. So we are going to start by asking, so where do you mostly experience racism? Is it in school? Is it at work? Where exactly do you mostly experience it?
Racism, unfortunately, it is everywhere. In public transport, people are not going to want to sit with you because of your skin color. In the shops, people are not going to be very warm when they're serving you. In the city, anywhere you would think of, in school, everywhere. I have experienced racism everywhere, anywhere I can think of. So I'm not going to say like I have experienced racism more in this particular area compared to another. At work as well, that is another thing. So racism is everywhere, and it might be subtle, it might be loud. Yeah.
Good to know. So, what has been your worst experience in regards to racism?
And before I answer that question, I'm just gonna ask you, what about you? Where do you experience racism?
For me, I think I would say pretty much the same thing as you said. I can't really put a finger to exactly where. I think it's really based on where I spend a lot of time nowadays. It's at work. My work is quite good, but from now and here and there, I can certainly see sometimes some sort of disbelief on what I can do. So you can see somebody asking you a question, and you're trying to answer them, and they're trying to second think what you're saying, and they're trying to make you feel like, are you really capable of delivering a particular task? And you of course meet each and every requirement to actually be working in that position. However, people just give you a different attitude, and when you do something exemplary well, everybody is absolutely wowed, and you're thinking, okay, all right, it's just me, I'm qualified, I can do this. But yeah, so that's pretty much
to know that. It's good to know that. So what did you ask me again?
I asked, what has been your worst experience with racism being here?
My worst experience. What I can say is there is no good racism and worse racism. Let me just say that. And if I can give my reasons, I'm gonna give my recent example of racism experience. For example, I went to this particular shop and I realized the attendants, they were not very willing to serve me for whatever reason known by them, and they were ignoring me. And when it reached a point that I had to be served, they were hurrying me up. It's like, this is what you need, please pay. And
were they about to close?
No, they weren't, because I've been in that shop for a couple of times, so I know. I went there for like 3 p.m. and I've been there for like 5 p.m. so I know they weren't about to close. And whatever I was buying, like I said on my video, I was buying a memory card. I needed something else to do with my cameras and everything, and they were like, memory card, pay and go wherever you're going. Like, they didn't give me a chance, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
They didn't give me a chance. Oh, do you need anything else? Oh, no. And I even asked them, why are you hurrying me up? Like, you're not even giving me a chance. And they were shocked. So to me, I can say that is my most recent experience. And one experience I can say is when my friend was waiting for me in a particular restaurant in the city. She went to the bathroom and the waitress followed her to the bathroom, and she was asking her, why are you here? Do you know you're bothering our clients?
What?
And the clients are getting disturbed by your presence in this restaurant, and she was asking her to leave. Can you imagine that?
Wow.
So and of course she was the only one of an African culture, so I don't understand. I don't really understand why they were treating her like that. That was really terrible. And of course they had to invoke the manager, and the waitress had to apologize. It was quite sad.
Oh.
Yeah.
So they were trying to tell her to get
out like you're not supposed to be here.
Wow. You should tell me, once we finish this video, I need to know the name of that restaurant, because I'm never stepping foot there.
Yeah. So
yeah, that's
absolutely
really
sad.
bad.
I don't know whether you have any sad experience you would want to share with people.
Yeah, I know. I have had an experience, of course, not one, not two, but one that comes on top of my mind at the moment is at the time when I went to the markets. So there are sometimes on weekends there is open markets where they sell fresh vegetables. Some people bring their handmade stuff and they sell at the market. And I approached this lady who was selling something that looked like a chandelier, and it was handmade. So I'm like, wow, that is beautiful. How much is it? And she looks at me and she's like, no, darling, that is very expensive. And I'm like, excuse me? And she goes to tell me, yes, it's very expensive. And I'm like, oh, so how much is it? And she tells me $80. Well, I was very surprised, and I'm like, well, that is not expensive. I don't think it's right for you to tell me what is expensive and what is not. And in that regard, you just lost yourself a customer. And she looks at me so surprised. She tries to apologize, but I'm like, no, that is not right. You cannot just look at me and tell me something is expensive. And I'm sorry, guys, but how do you determine what is expensive to someone else? By just looking at them. You know what I mean?
Wow, it's
because seriously, I'm a hard-working person. I could buy 10 of those bags.
Exactly.
I'm not bragging. And I'm sure it's really disheartening when someone tells you that. So I told her, you just lost yourself a customer, and walked away. Because I like to treat people with kindness. I would, of course, have started venting and given her a piece of my mind. But sometimes it's just not worth it. I think the best comeback for me is always to treat people with kindness. And I hope one day they get to learn their lesson.
Wow, I thought she was gonna say it was 8,000, which you can afford as well, but really?
Yeah,
That
it
was quite
it was
sad.
crazy.
That
Yeah.
was quite sad.
Yeah, I've also had other experiences of people telling me. Like I had a friend who told me that she's been to some of the supermarkets, the big supermarkets here are Coles and Woolies. And I had a friend who told me that one time she was shopping at Woolies and she noticed that somebody was just following her every time she made every time she made a stop to look at someone was actually following her. And she, at one point now, she turned and said, "Excuse me," and that's why that person started acting busy. And yeah, sometimes it's that just so, and I think that is just so stupid to just look at someone and assume that they're gonna steal. It's just crazy because you can't just follow one person. If you're gonna follow people, you're gonna follow everybody. And if you think there's maybe an increase in crime and people are picking things, then use the right system, install cameras. It's a whole Woolies supermarket, which is one of the biggest supermarkets. I'm sorry to be mentioning names, but really racism is not right, and it is what it is.
I actually saw a comment on my video when I did about racism in Australia. I saw a comment of someone saying the same thing, that people get followed here in Australia.
In supermarkets?
Even in the other shop, but mostly in supermarkets. Personally, I haven't experienced that, but now that you've mentioned it, wow, that's a new law, to be honest.
Yeah,
that's a new law.
It is crazy.
Like someone is just gonna look at you and think, oh, she's gonna steal. So what do? I follow her around and see what she's gonna pick. Anyway, it's sad. It's really sad.
Yeah. So, what is usually your reaction? So, what's usually your response? For example, you said your most recent experience was at the shop. How was your response? How did you react? Did you just walk away, or what did you do?
I did ask them why they were hurrying me up. I didn't even ask them why they were ignoring me, because I realized the first thing they were ignoring me. I didn't ask them that. I thought that. But then again, when I realized that they were hurrying me up, I did ask them, you're not even giving me a chance to order more items. But of course, I was not going to order anything else after the kind of treatment I got. So let me just say I mostly ignore. I mostly ignore and just go about my business. Because you know what? Sometimes it's just hard to keep... some people are just ignorant, let me just say that. And the last thing I want is to have an argument or a discussion with someone who is ignorant already, who has already formed an opinion, whether I have money or not, whether I can afford that or not. So most of the time, I just ignore. Which I know I shouldn't. Probably I should do something. But please leave a comment down below and let us know how do you normally respond to any racism act in your area or wherever it happens to you. What about you, Stella?
So for me, I can totally see why you would ignore, because sometimes you feel a level of, sometimes because racism mostly also happens to people being very belittling and making you second think what you're saying and making you feel like you're stupid and speaking in a certain way to you. Like sometimes you can see people addressing you as if you are a child, repeating everything that they say as if you do not understand what they're saying. So I can totally see why someone would ignore, because at that point you're very hurt, and sometimes when you're hurt you would easily say very hurtful things. So it's better to walk away gracefully. I've had instances whereby I have walked away. However, most of the times I do confront people and tell them why. Like for that lady, I told her that was wrong of her and she cannot assume that I don't have money just based on my race or whatever she is thinking. I've also had a recent experience, not very recent, but at one point I remember we went with my friends at a restaurant, and this was a really good restaurant, almost a 5-star hotel, because it was quite expensive. You're expecting creme de la creme of treatment. However, what happened is that our table was hardly being served. We got one round of drinks when we came in. Nobody came back to refill our glasses. Every time we needed something, we had to go to the extent of calling the waiter. And you can see every other table had been allocated as server. So there was someone constantly asking them after the meal, would you like to look at the dessert menu? Would you like a refill? However, our table was absolutely ignored. So I was so annoyed, and at the end of the meal and as we were leaving, I decided to ask one of the ladies that I would speak with the manager. And I spoke to the manager, I gave him my 2 cents, I told him what had happened. He proceeded to give us quite a decent discount, a bit, I think 50%, but I was like, that's not really what I'm looking for, you know.
Behavior.
I am happy to pay the full bill because I'm here, I can afford it, and I came to have an experience. I didn't come for discount, I came to have the full dining experience, just like anyone else. So the manager was very apologetic. And I went ahead to also write a review, of course, because I want all the other people to know what exactly happens there. Because in this day and age, nobody is just gonna treat you badly and expect to go away with it. Thank God for the internet, we all have a voice. Thank God for platforms like YouTube, we're able to highlight these things. So in most instances, I try to educate, I try to do it very gracefully, and when I cannot, because there are times that I just cannot.
You don't have time.
You don't have time. You are so hot that you feel like if you open your mouth,
it's not gonna
go down well. So there are times I have walked away, but also there are times that, and most of the times I really try my best to get myself together, pull myself together, and actually educate somebody. Because if you don't, sometimes I feel like we all do have our responsibilities. I do not want to bring my children into a world that they're gonna be treated as
like second-class citizens,
or like they're not human beings just based on their race. Yeah,
I really I must commend you for that, because
it is
in most cases,
yeah,
I don't think I have time nor the energy to educate anyone.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna leave you with your ignorance, to be honest. I'm not gonna tell you anything. I'm just gonna go about my business, because sometimes racism can be like, let's assume the other time, sometime back, I was in public transport and outside public transport waiting for the train, and someone just came close to me, spat, and left.
Wow.
So what I
was this a gentleman or a lady?
A lady, actually.
Oh my God, that is very bad. That's really
so bad. Tell me whether you're gonna have time to educate such a person or to tell them anything.
That is very hard.
So yeah, you're not saying that we hate Australia, because I know the comments are coming on this video. I know the comments are coming, the negative comments are coming, but this is reality. This is it. This is what we experience. And we cannot run away from the reality. And we need to have this kind of conversation.
Absolutely.
We need to. Because I know there are so many people, of course, they would like to come here, which is good actually, and we will encourage them to come. We are bringing up kids. It's good for everyone to know that this is the reality. And probably someone is going to watch this video and they might change their way of the way they look at other people from different communities. So I must commend you on educating people, and another thing is leaving a review. Actually, that is something that I'm going to be doing.
Yo, don't mess with us. Anyway, so on that note, I think we're gonna wind up the video here. But I want you to have what is your parting shot? What would you like to tell people who actually look at others and think that they are better than them just based on their race or skin color?
We all pay tax.
Hallelujah! You can say that again.
We all pay tax, whether black, blue, yellow. We all pay tax, and none of us, me and Stella, we are not in any welfare here. So anyway, and so many other people I know who are still experiencing racism in this country. So we all pay tax, and we all should learn to accommodate each other, to be honest, because we are humans. You know, just because I'm black, I'm blue, or you white, whatever, it doesn't mean you're better or I'm better than you, to be honest. And it doesn't mean if like you, wherever you employ that you're not qualified. You got your job on merit. Yeah. So I think we should all learn to accommodate each other, and the world is gonna be a better place for all of us. Let us be kind to one another. Really, it doesn't cost anything to be kind.
Very well said, Mercy. Thank you so much for being here. I would just reinstate what you said, and I'll say pretty much the same thing. You know what? make a friend who's of a different race from you. Try to get to know them, because sometimes even how people behave and mistreat others based on their race, sometimes it's not even their fault. It's all the assumptions they get from the media, and you've had zero interaction with people who look different from you. So I would encourage you to make a friend who's of a different race from you. Make a friend who's different, so that you can experience the rich culture and be able to know that at the end of the day, we're all human, we all get hurt, we all just need love. So thank you so much for watching again. Make sure to check out Mercy MM's video, which I'm gonna leave on the link. Subscribe to her channel as well, and as always, it's always a pleasure. Happy Western Australian Day. Bye!
Bye-bye. Thank you. Did you tell them to follow us on Instagram?
Oh yeah, and follow us on Instagram as well. Leave the link below. Bye!
Bye!